Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the ALC podcast. Due to some technical difficulties, we are in the middle of a conversation rather than the start of one. But I guess we can... Oh, my Google picked that up for some reason. I guess we can just kind of like talk about what we started with, which was, are we living in a simulation? Simulation hypothesis. This theory that all of existence in itself is a simulated reality. And at this point, we're talking about interpretations of it, like what your particular interpretation of it is. Nathan's is that we've been turned off.
Yeah.
Yet, here we all are, so...
They already turned it off.
Justin, what's your interpretation of that?
So I mean, the thought is we're running inside some simulation in some like mega supercomputer. If we're running one simulation, I think there's a good chance that we're running multiple simulations, and if we're running multiple simulations, then we're probably more than likely in a simulation rather than reality, just because there's more simulations than there are like realities. So I think we're probably in a simulation. Good shot.
So, what do you think is simulated? Which part of reality do you think
right?
is simulated?
It'd be everything, right? Like we would have no knowledge of the real world if we were inside the simulation.
You've never seen an LOD glitch?
A what?
Sometimes you catch an LOD, like turn your head really quick. It's like,
oh, level of detail. Yeah,
like, it'll come up real fast.
I mean, I see one in Chris's camera right now.
Like, never gonna get fixed.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, like I've never seen anything that couldn't be explained by my fucking vision just being shitty.
Allan, how about you?
I mean, I could buy we're in a simulation, although I don't know if we mentioned on the podcast before, but I have really weird beliefs, and one of which is literally, in the literal sense, literally, I believe nothing's impossible. And so if literally nothing's impossible, one of the possibilities is we're living in a simulation. All right, fine. I read that there are muted again. God damn it. So, can someone check the stream? Because this is picking up recording in the recording, but I guess not the stream.
Interesting. Allan, are you pressing a button to start talking?
No, I was pressing the streamcast to try and change us around, but now that's
we just came back.
We just came back.
Oh, maybe it's just Allan that's muted.
Is your mic muted?
No, it says picking it up. Like I can see little thingies going up and down.
Justin, talk.
Push to talk on OBS? I don't think so.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Allan,
4, 5.
you're muted on OBS or on the stream. So I wonder if you're muted on the Ooh, I hate hearing myself talk. On the video too.
No, because like, well, I'm pretty sure no, because I have the thingy on the thingy. I know that's not helpful, but I have.
Didn't something like this happen already?
Something like this has happened before.
Helpful.
Yes, but that was because like my thing was actually muted. So what I have set up on the OBS right now is like, you guys are a distinct audio source and I'm a distinct audio source, and that just helps fix everything in post, because you guys are usually uniform and I'm either too high or too low. But let me try doing this.
Maybe it's just the wrong thing selected for that thing.
I mean, maybe. Let me just try doing this. Okay, can you hear me now on stream? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Okay. Testing again. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me without a weird echo or anything? Okay. Okay. So going back to the question, what do I believe? I may or may not have mentioned on the stream before, but I believe in literally, the literal word literally, anything is possible. So one of those possibilities is we're living in a simulation. And I believe I read before that there's evidence of like subatomic particles being consistent with like pixels, and you know that lends, I don't know, evidence somehow to us being in a simulation where we're a bunch of pixels. Although I don't think we would perceive being in pixels if we were a simulation. I just think it was like I don't remember who said it, but I think it was just like some clickbaity article title.
Maybe they were talking about the Planck length.
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you want to explain that at all, or?
So it's this physics concept where it's like the smallest distance possible. And yeah, basically, to really summarize what it is, like I think if there's anything in physics that you could say is like the pixel resolution of the universe, I think it would be that. But it's like very, very small.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I shouldn't say I don't think it matters. I think it would have a lot of implications if we were somehow prove that it's true. Fewer implications if we could prove it's false, but a lot of implications if we could prove it's true.
So nobody's going the Matrix route. Nobody's saying that you're a real person, but living in a simulation. Rather, we're all just a simulation.
Yeah, 100%. Like if we're in a simulation, we're all just simulated humans.
I don't necessarily agree with that, because one of the theoretical uses for a star is to power a Dyson sphere. And one thing a Dyson sphere, imagine like a giant ball that goes around the sun, and the entire thing is filled with solar panels. So you're getting like 100% of the star power. And it's a theoretical like sci-fi-ish type of device, but you use that if you really need a fuckload of energy, if your civilization needs a fuckload of energy. One of the uses for a Dyson sphere has been theorized to be like an omega super duper computer, which would run a simulation, and the civilization would just go and like hack their brains in on the star and just live in a simulation powered pretty much forever.
Yeah, but like, why? If we were humans that were attached to that simulation, why wouldn't we just carry our memories into the simulation?
Because it makes it more authentic. If you can't remember that this is fake, it makes you treat it like it's real. Also, at that point, we would be like so far removed from human, I would assume, that this would be more of, I've heard it called like an ancestor simulation, but essentially a simulation of what their essential, like, you know, the ancestry of their species was. So yeah, I mean, lending credence to what Alan's saying is, what if we are just like, we've all just turned into goo, and we live inside little glass cages on the outside of a Dyson sphere, plugged into this simulation because we can.
So, but what if the civilization trying to do the ancestor civilization was all like a bunch of snails, and then it's like the wrong thing happened?
Well, I mean,
oh, crap.
yeah, then there's a snail universe. They're all snails, and they're trying to remember being snails, but instead they all turned into us.
Well, no, they're simulation. They're trying to make the perfect environment for their snail ancestors, and then we just popped up and started like wrecking shit.
So the next question I want to ask is, would it matter to you? Tomorrow you find out this is all simulated. None of this is actually a real reality, but a simulation of a reality. Would it matter to you?
No, 0%.
So I think that one reason why people would think that matters is because then that it comes along with this sense that, okay, well, whatever's simulating us, that's like the real world. But the whole conundrum of whether or not it's simulated or not would apply to that too. And that's probably simulated too. So I just think that would just never end. I just think like, if that's how the universe works, that's actually just how it works. And it's just simulations all the way down.
Everybody eventually gets to the point where they're just simulating the way they were before. Alan, what do you think? Would it matter to you?
So, one thing that Hitler was doing,
oh my god,
was it's rumored that like there was like a branch of like Hitler's regime that were just obsessed with like the occult, and like they were scouring the earth for like the lost ark, the spear of Longinus, like all these like Judeo-Christian ancient artifacts.
The spear of Longinus.
Spear of Longinus.
Never heard of it.
You know, is the spear of Longinus. It's the spear. I believe it's the spear that pierced Jesus's lung.
Well, yeah, but Longinus.
Longinus.
That was the guy's name. That was like the Legionnaire's name.
Yeah.
Like Legionnaire.
It's probably Longinus, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
It's
Longinus.
Longinus or Longinus. Like,
Longinus.
But I like
Vagina.
Longinus.
man, I'm gonna go to a Mexican restaurant and order so many fucking vaginas.
So many Longinus. But
So-
yes, okay.
So
yeah.
so there's precedent for people trying to like, you know, again, scour the earth, possibly wage wars. Well, not possibly, probably wage wars for like ancient artifacts and like answers and discovery. So I feel like if we're in a simulation, there's going to be a lot of moves. Maybe not necessarily for me, but a lot of moves to like escape the matrix, so to speak. Or,
Okay,
like,
wait, no, but that's not the question right now. The question right now is, does it matter? Would it matter to you?
Yes, because it'd be like here's a treasure. It's like here's an ancient treasure, and then like
Okay.
it'd be like
So it would matter to you in the sense that like you would want to know what's beyond it.
that.
You would be
still not
sure
seeing
that
treasure.
there's something beyond
Yeah,
it.
that, and I could like put on a fucking Indiana Jones hat and just like, all right, like let's figure out some way to get this treasure. It's like it's like the answer is the treasure.
I mean, you could still probably do
So
that
is
now.
that because that would help you out of the simulation? I don't.
Not
If it's a simulation, then the treasure's more important.
if it's a simulation, then we know for sure like the answer of who's beyond the simulation and if we can reach beyond the simulation is a treasure, and so it becomes like a treasure hunt to me.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think I see what you're saying now.
It's a new goal.
Yeah, it's like a goal. It's like a quest. It's like, here you go, guys. Like, here's civilization. Here's a giant quest. Can you figure it out?
Well, I mean, but that's the quest of science anyway, right? Because it's just like, well, whatever's going on, like that's what they're trying to figure out. And if that's what's going on, that's what's
Yeah,
going on.
If you want to
That's-
go on
that's
an
true,
expedition
but-
to find the spear of Longinus, I'll join you.
I would thoroughly enjoy that. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, I mean, so it would matter to you in the sense that it would change your goals for that reality. You would no longer strive to be what you are currently striving to be as a human or as a person, but you would strive to understand better that reality. So what's
Sure,
stopping you
sure.
now from doing that?
Because I don't think we don't have yet definitive proof of any sort of, at least in my interpretation of definitive proof, any sort of like metaphysical answer or, you know, prompt or anything. Like there's a lot of people saying a lot of different things, but your question was prove that we're in a simulation, and I assume if that's the case, then, you know, I can understand and just be like, okay, this makes sense. We're in a simulation. So much so that I'd be like, all right, I can drop a fair amount of my responsibilities to like go on this adventure now.
Becomes more of a priority then.
Yeah,
Becomes an absolute, something you can grab.
yeah,
Do you think it would matter to most other people?
yes. I think people would wage
Yeah, I
war.
think it would fuck with people like really hard for the most part.
What about you, Nate? How do you think the rest of everyone that isn't you, how do you think most of them would react?
Wait, did Nate even answer like whether or not it would matter to him?
You said no.
It's. I've already accepted it. I've already accepted they turned the machine off.
Based.
Wait, so if you accept they turn the machine off, is that what heat death is to you? Like heat death of the universe is like the end of the power cycle?
No, that's not my understanding of it. I just think like if you had a computer simulating universes, I just feel like what you're actually doing is some kind of math, and then it's like the universe doesn't actually live on the machine. It's like the machine is like a tool to look at something.
But-
Oh, that makes a bit more sense.
So Okay, wait. I have a question. I have a question in this. I just need to find it. I had it for a second. Somebody else can talk.
So what you're saying is like x equals y exists, and like if you just like graph it out on a piece of paper, that's just like that's your way of looking at x equals y.
Right.
So,
But
Nathan, if you think that they turned it off, what is a version of this that isn't turned off? What leads you to believe that that specific point of it's been turned off versus it hasn't been turned off?
Well, if they're trying to ancestor simulate, then they're going to be upset that there aren't any snails. So then they have to turn it off.
So the version of this that they kept on was the version with the snails. Okay.
Yeah, they're just looking for that one.
How do you know
think the
there
other-
aren't? How do you know that we don't already have the snails?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
The snails
Like-
are also simulated.
Yeah, right.
Once they
Like,
find that one, I guess they'll keep that one on.
how do you know we're not?
What if they're the
already got one?
snails in the simulation and we are just humans that are simulated because they're
Yeah,
trying
we're
to
just
simulate
side
what it was like for
characters in
snails back
simulation.
then? Does that make you believe it's turned on?
This was just an important part of the snail development to have.
Yeah.
This
Snails
is
need
like-
humans to exist so that they can see how the planet develops before they take over.
It's like we're the mobs
We're the
in the
dinosaurs.
dungeon for the snails. Yeah.
We're the fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like another
100%.
layer in the ground that they need to rise up.
Yeah, they had to simulate the dinosaurs, so they have to simulate us. And this is what the humans decide to do.
Right.
Make dumbass podcasts.
All right, conceivably, for that reason, maybe the mission's still on.
Okay. So wait, Justin, would it matter to everybody else? Would it matter to the rest of the world? Justin, you say no?
No, it would matter a shitload to other people. People would have existential crisis, and it would be the collapse of society, probably.
Do you think you would have that crisis?
No, I already accepted that we're in the simulation. It's fine.
when did you
It
accept
doesn't
this?
matter. Like whether or not we're in the simulation,
Allan, you're getting ahead of
like,
things.
no, it's still gonna play out the way it is.
Sure.
Nate, what about you? How do you think other people would react?
I just don't think, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people that have a lot of beliefs about things, and like, I actually think there's a significant amount of people that you can just bring them some proof that like some crazy shit is true, and they'll just be like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't like.
Wait, all right, whatever. As in, they believe it and it's whatever, or they
No,
won't
they
believe
just
it.
they just won't believe it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think that if all of a sudden a big pop-up came in the sky, was just like, hey, just FYI, this is simulated, and then it went away, most people would just be like, nah, it never happened. Honestly, probably.
If that's how, I mean, if that's how it happens, then you're gonna have a lot of people being like, "That's just the damn Russians or the commie government."
So it has to be absolute. There has to be a way.
Yeah, it has to
Dude,
come
I
in
think-
via divine revelation.
Yeah, like
or nobody's
an
believe it.
angel has to come down from heaven and like literally resurrect dead people and shit. And in
Look, I can
like
do anything.
in like Mecca and Jerusalem too. Not you can't just be like in New York City because people just be like, it's fucking New York. Like that shit happens all the time.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. If the pop up was like in New York or something like that, I actually think people wouldn't care. It would have to like vibe with like their existing like superstitions for them.
Yeah. So it would have to
Yeah,
be
take it seriously.
in a holy city that like in a low tech moment, and it has to be like beyond divinity.
So it couldn't look like Windows 95.
Correct.
It would have to look like at least Windows like.
Well, no. It could look like the Windows 95 logo because those are like that's kind of close to like a biblically accurate angel. Like if the little like Windows panes were like eyeballs, that'd be pretty close to like a biblical angel.
Or just had a bunch of eyeballs in them.
Yeah, just a bunch of eyeballs.
So, what if instead of finding out that you're in a simulation, you find out that everything else is a simulation? You are the only true thing. Everything else is a simulation. Would that change your day to day? Would that
Just-
change your life?
It's just a
Change the
dream.
way you live it?
Yeah, it's just a dream.
It depends.
But how do you act in dreams? Are you a dickhead in dreams?
Sometimes. I imagine most people. I imagine most people that can dream lucidly enough, like fucking like. If I'm in a dream and I know I'm in a dream, Like sometimes like nice cars and shit will spawn in front of me, and I will just take the nice car because I'm in a dream.
Who needs a car when you can fly? You just run and start flapping your arms.
That doesn't work for me that much. There's so the part of your brain that like controls like motor reflex is like really asleep, and mine is like super asleep when I'm asleep, and like running and flying and stuff is very, very difficult. Like I can use powers, but I can't like run and fly as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. Like, I am a very avid lucid dreamer. If I realize I'm in a dream, like that becomes a sandbox to me. Like, I start flying around. I start spawning NPCs. Like, I start blowing stuff up if I chose to. Like, it's just a sandbox at that point.
I've heard you should try stepping into mirrors because weird stuff happens.
In real life
Maybe I'll
or
do
in
that next time,
dreams?
sure.
Yeah, I'll try and keep that in mind.
But yeah, like it depends on how much control I have over the simulation. If I realize it's simulation, like if I have like a decent amount of
You're
control,
not God in
I'm
this
probably
case.
gonna become like Neo. But otherwise, I don't think it makes a difference, honestly.
Yeah.
So when
in
you
this,
say
in this
avid lucid-
situation, you wouldn't be God. You would be a person, but just the only one that is actually hooked up to something outside of the simulation.
Yeah, I don't think I would have the knowledge to be able to escape it, and I might try for like a few years or something.
Yeah.
But I outside of that, I don't think it would change much, honestly.
The presumption
What were you
is
saying, Nate?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Alan.
No, Nate, go ahead.
Oh, so when you said avid lucid dreamer, I was wondering, does that mean like reading like techniques for lucid dreaming, or just you just enjoy it? Or-
It depends. If I lay down, I'm like, I want to do lucid dreaming. There's like a 30% chance I can do it. But if there's something that triggers me to realize I'm in a fucking dream, like the light switches stop working, or pain is like delayed, then I'm like, okay, let me see if I'm in a dream or not, and I'll try to do something like levitate or get something to appear in front of me, or like try to mind control something. And if those things work, I'm obviously in a dream, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in a dream, cool.
But, I mean, isn't the most difficult part of this like just remembering all that though? Because I feel like
Yeah, it is. Like, it's something that I've done since like middle school. So like I've kind of trained my brain to pick up on those cues.
Yeah.
It still doesn't happen super
have done
often.
It as
It's
well,
like maybe once or twice a month.
but there's certain like muscle memories that you have that come from it that are like, I know that when I'm in a dream I can do this thing, like I can feel this way and it does this,
Sure.
like flying, like
Sure.
it's not just running and flapping your arms. It's like a feeling that you get. Like I get a feeling in the back of my head. It's like a lightness, and then it just like continues until you're flying. So you remember that feeling, and then when you do realize you're in a dream the next time, you use that again and you attempt to like flex those muscles again. And it's just like, anything else is practice makes perfect.
Do you know what I can do? I know exactly what you're talking about, because I can do, and speaking of Fortnite, I can do Kamehamehas in my dream. And like
You know that. You're just like, I know how to do this one.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
feel this one and I can do it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can feel it like all through your body, and then like it feels weird, but it comes out of your hands. Like I actually never realized that I can recognize some of those feelings until you mention it.
Yeah. One interesting about being able to fly like in your dreams after you realize you're in a dream. Initially, when you're like getting the levitation down, it feels like Heelys.
It does. It feels like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like you're flying. It feels like you're like floating or like sliding a little bit.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Like you're walking, and then you kind of stop walking, and you're kind of like levitating over the ground.
Yeah.
And then eventually you figure out how to like take off.
It reminds me of that scene in Donnie Darko where he has the thing that comes out of his chest and moves, and like people are just naturally following that thing around. It's not like pulling them and it's not forcing them, but people just naturally follow this pull that happens. That's kind of what it feels like. It feels like this thing inside that's telling you like, okay, well, stop pushing forward with your legs and start pushing forward with your body. And then you just like, I don't know, go.
Yeah.
I think
Try it, Nate. Try it.
if you both are
Whenever I
describing,
realize I'm in a dream, I feel like I have like 10 seconds before I wake up. So I do try stuff, but like I'm almost always on waking up as soon as I realize.
I think you both are describing similar sensations for something that we shouldn't be able to experience. So either we can fly in real life and we just forgot how, and like
No, it's because we all watched Dragon Ball Z when we were a kid, and we remember the scene where Gohan is
Gohan's
training
Videl
Videl how to fly and tells her to feel it inside of her.
I mean, kind of.
maybe.
I think we have very similar. Like we're all humans. We all have.
That's how I
similar
learned
brains. Like, if you know, like the mechanism for lucid dreaming, I'm sure it is like similar somewhere. So if you figure out how to lucid dream, like that sensation is going to be probably similar between people.
Possibly.
Interesting.
Well, that's nice. It's nice that we all have this shared experience we didn't know we all had.
Yeah, for sure.
So, have you ever had an experience in your life that would lead you to believe one way or another? That would lead you, like, have you ever had something happen where you're like, okay, that was a little bit too unexplainable for me?
But so I did have an experience just last week that I said, okay, simulation, just because I had no other explanation. But the thing is, that doesn't explain it either. In fact, maybe a simulation would even be like better at preventing that kind of thing from happening. Like, so basically what happened was I've got these people that are renting the place I used to live in Arlington. And I went to drop off a new key for them. And I had this keychain with I remember it had 4 little keys. 4 little keys. It was this keychain that I didn't have the whole time I lived there, and the cleaning lady found them like right before I moved out. And I was like, oh my gosh, all these mailbox keys. I didn't know I had these. So I used a mailbox key. I opened the mailbox. I do remember struggling with it a little bit. I do remember that. But I was able to use this mailbox key, open the mailbox, and then put their key in the mailbox, and then use a mailbox key, close the mailbox, and then that all worked fine. They got that key. Then I came back later with what I fully believed to be the same keychain, except I remembered it wrong. I was like, okay, I thought there was 4 mailbox keys, but now there's only 2. Weird, that's weird. I remembered it wrong. And then when I tried those 2 keys, they weren't for the mailbox. They weren't the mailbox keys. And then I was like, what are these then? And then I went to the storage locker. They were the locks for the storage locker. It's just a key for something else altogether.
Just a completely different set of keys.
And then the question is like, how did I do that? Like, how did I use 1? Why do I remember 4 when there was actually only 2 little keys? And 2, like, how did I actually use it correctly to open up the mailbox? And I was like, well, okay, I don't know, just like glitch in.
Is it possible
reality.
that you just had
Whatever
different sets of keys both times?
So that's one possibility, but I don't think so because it had a pretty distinctive like kind of thing on it, and it's that was definitely the same. I think the closest thing to a rational explanation that I can think of is that it wasn't actually locked, and I would just mess around with the wrong key and it came open, and then somehow like was confused about whether or not I actually closed it successfully. But I really just remember like, or somehow like I was able to like jam it in there and actually use it. Like,
It's a really shitty box or something.
But it didn't even really fit. I don't. It actually just doesn't. Like honestly, the simplest explanation for me, if I'm not concerned with like reality being consistent, is just that like, I don't know, like there's like a 1 turned to a 0 and like my keys actually just changed to something else.
Somebody turned off the simulation for a second. Someone kicked it accidentally.
Yeah, like Dustin just like that. Your camera just jumped. That's why I said that.
Oh, he knows. He's bouncing all over the place.
And then so I was like, okay, so but like yeah, that doesn't explain it either. But because why is it like if a simulation can suck, why wouldn't just like reality suck? Like why would one suck but not the other one? I don't know.
Reality probably sucks just as much. I was watching a thing, but it was like a talk that Philip K. Dick was having, and it was like, if you think this reality sucks, you should see the other ones. Like, Allan, Have you ever had an experience like that? An experience that you just like, to this day, unexplainable?
I don't necessarily. I can't pinpoint a specific one, but I will say that I have. Like, I experience quite a lot of deja vu. I don't know how often other people experience it, but I'd say at least weekly, once or twice a week. A few instances of it, I have been able to catch it and like literally like repeat back what the person was going to say to me. And then a couple weeks ago, I also like very rarely have like, I don't know what else to call them other than like prophetic dreams or like dreams of foresight. So like I have a dream, someone rear ends my car. Then I wake up, hang out with Rebecca, like we're doing stuff, running errands. I park the car, or I told her about it earlier that day too. I was like, hey, funny, I had a dream like we were driving around the car and someone hit me. She's like, ha ha ha. And then she said something, I don't remember what she said, but they were driving around, park the car, someone fucking hits me, rear ends me. I get so annoyed. Like it's like, I don't know if there's like a weird subconscious thing that like deja vu or those kind of dreams, like, if you stub your toe in a dream, like in this exact spot, do you subconsciously force yourself into that spot to stub your toe? Or is it something else? Because I don't think like I subconsciously fucking parked my car so someone else hits my car.
I wonder how much of it is. I have that experience a lot, especially the dream part of it, where like something happens in a dream and then a few days later or like even that same day, a similar thing or the same thing will happen. I always wonder about the like retroactive memory part of it. The part where like my brain has a dangling thread of something from a dream and then something happens in real life and it decides to just connect these two things together. And then it gives you that feeling of like, oh, I have seen this before. I've felt this before. I don't know. That's the way that I usually explain it. But yeah, those are things that are just like, why would that happen?
And speaking of dreams, there's a few dreams in my life I'll never forget. One of them I'll never forget for a fucking stupid ass reason. And that was like, we were at camp. I must have been like 12 or 13. We were at camp and we were on a bus and they were taking us to like a water park or some shit for the day. And I remember I was on the bus and I had my hand on my cheek like this up against the window and I was sleeping. And I remember in the dream, some shit happens and then I get like a smack on the side of the face. And then I kind of wake up and my hand is slipping. And like as soon as I get the slap, like I wake up, I see I'm slipping. I have fucking like bus like shit slaps me in the face. I don't know if that's like a product of me slipping. And then like my
sorry,
dream,
what slapped you in the face?
like in my dream, a person slapped me in the face. As like I woke up, like my face was like slapping into the window.
So like the falling dream, the dream where you're like sitting in your chair and you're falling asleep, then you fall into it, but the dream is you falling off a building and it like wakes you up, snaps you awake.
I guess yeah, maybe that's an explanation. But the point is,
but I mean, even then, what's the explanation there? Your body knows that it's falling, so it gives you something to wake you up.
It could be that your body is trying to communicate to you that you're about to hit your face on something, and that's the best you can do to understand it at the time. Like
we understand things in physical. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, man.
How about you, Justin?
Nah, I've never really had anything that told me like, "Hey, you're in a fucking simulation."
You had nothing has happened to you that has made you question the nature of your reality.
Not anything that couldn't be explained by my fucking vision being shit, or my perception just being fucking stupid.
What about all your lucid dreaming?
I mean, that's me taking control of my fucking stupid brain. I don't know. Maybe that's giving myself too much credit, but like,
just because he's an alpha and he has control of his brain.
I don't know. I feel like everything in my life has been like relatively explainable. I don't see anything supernatural or unusual about my experience.
Would you want to know?
Would I want to know?
Sorry, Allan, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna make a joke. Go ahead.
No, make your stupid joke.
No, I was gonna say
make your fucking stupid joke.
What about all of us getting together as friends through all the odds?
We all play World.
We met in a simulation.
We met in a simulation.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Would you want to know?
Probably not.
If we were in a simulation, would I want to know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, would you want to know?
100%. 100%.
Nate?
Sure.
You just sure? Like, yeah, sure. Probably. I probably want to know. Do you think most people would? You think if we gave the blue pill to
It's the red pill, right?
no, but the choice you give the choice to most people on the
present
streets
the
of
pill.
like,
Sure.
yeah, you present it as, would you like to continue on blissfully unaware? Would you like to know the nature of your reality? Do you think most people would say yes?
I just have this weird intuition that I can't quite describe, and it's like, it just feels to me like they're like, for this kind of thing, it seems like there can just be like opposite things that are like just like both. I don't really know how I can really elaborate on it. I think it kind of comes from like reading maybe these like magical realism books or something. And there's just this sense that it's like people kind of have these perceptions and they have these beliefs and they might contradict each other, and somehow they're just all true anyway or something. Like, so maybe it's like you could just tell somebody that it's simulation, you can prove it or something, but like they might have some other belief about it and that would also still be true. Like, I don't know. I think maybe if there is some ultimate truth to it all, it's actually just beyond our...
Okay, so I guess the question more would be, if there was an ultimate truth, would you want to know it? Is that...
If I could. Yeah, I just don't know if it would fit in my head, but I'd like to try.
Yeah, I mean, if something like presented you with the option of divine revelation, would you say yes or no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you would say yes. Okay.
For sure.
Alan, does that change your answer? Oh, you already said yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think one of the things that, like, one of my personal beliefs is, like, you know, when we pass the beyond, like, we can reach ultimate truth about maybe not the totality of this reality, but at least like your personal realities. Like, you know, did Bill take your fucking cookie? Like, you'll have like definitive truth of that, and more, and maybe everything. I don't know, but like I for sure believe that like there is like a perfect truth once you pass
From this plane.
From this plane.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I really believe.
You don't think so? There's no...
Well,
there's
I
no-
mean, I
there's
think
no-
I might think there is a perfect truth, but I don't know if it would be like revealed to you.
If we are in a simulation, then that's super easy to track, like the perfect truths. Because they're
Sure,
just
they would just be
I
all
mean, not by
written
you.
up somewhere.
not well, maybe because it's just stats. So if you exit the simulation, you can probably just look up all the stats.
Oh yeah, if you could exit simulation, like that would be super cool. If you can't exit the simulation, I don't want to fucking know.
But you guys don't have.
I don't think it would add any. I don't know. Okay, like I used to value knowledge for like the sake of knowledge. I thought like just knowing the truth of the world was like really cool and really good. And I think I've changed my position on that. I think that like knowledge is only useful in that it betters your life. And just knowing that I'm in a simulation, just having that kind of like fuck with the edge of my mind, without it actually being me being able to act on it in any sort of way. I think that would fuck with me in a way that would make my life at least somewhat worse.
But so I guess what I'm saying is like there could be a scenario where it could be demonstrated like 100% that is reality. And I just like don't think that reality works such that like as that context changes, like that would just continue to be as true in other contexts. Does that make sense? Like it probably
I
doesn't.
didn't follow that. I followed
just-
that like 0%.
I don't know. It's like even if somebody was able to demonstrate that and convince me of it, it just like I just think there'd be other truths as well, maybe. And I can't really explain it more than that.
Yeah, like something in the world, like Matrix downloads it into your brain that this is a simulation. This is the evidence for the simulation. Blah 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 blah. you would still want to know.
Sorry, I want to know what.
If something like Matrix downloaded like that, this is a simulation. Here's the evidence for the simulation. Blah 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 blah, and just download it into your brain. You don't have to process it. You don't have to like grok it. It just is, and you understand it. You would still want to know, right?
Well, so. Oh well, I mean, like that. I don't know if I would. So, because that's just like a thing that could happen, but that's kind of independent of whether or not that would be true, right?
For the sake of argument, we're saying that it's being told to you because it is true.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But it just seems to introduce the possibility that then I could believe it isn't true.
Yeah, you could definitely say, nah, still don't believe you. There are plenty of people presented with evidence and facts to decide to not understand them or believe them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess I think just I guess what I'm really trying to say is the concept of very. It applies to more practical.
The concept of what?
Like,
you cut out for a second.
The concept of like very mutually exclusive. It's like, okay, so it's like Joe was in the store, so that means Joe like wasn't in the field. Like there's like mutually exclusive, and it's like it's like a very practical thing that we're used to, and it's a very physical thing. And then when you start talking about like metaphysical stuff, I don't know if it just applies as much. I don't know if the concept of like mutually exclusive like truth applies to the same degree anymore. So then you could say like, okay, the world is a simulation and think about it the same way. And then logically that would mean, okay, that means it's not something else. But what I'm saying is like once you leave that domain where that kind of thinking is very effective, it might not even be a good tool anymore. So and then weird stuff might be true. Like, okay, the world is a simulation, but that doesn't mean it's not something else. It's just also something else.
Yeah.
I think that both can be true.
I think if the simulation is powerful enough, like it could all be true.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, this can still be a simulation and God could still be real.
Yeah. And
Well,
then like, maybe
you
it's just
could
like
be God.
like a rock, paper, scissors game or something.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about like personal experience. Regardless if this is a simulation or not, you've definitely had these experiences. They've shaped you. They've morphed you.
Mm-hmm.
So finding out that there are other versions of you doesn't take away the version of you that is now.
No, man, it's multiverse, baby.
All over. All right, that's it. That's all I got to talk about. I have no more questions. You're released from this eternal damnation.
I don't know, man. Like, simulation or not, like, I think if all this stuff happened, like somehow, some way, like full confirmation of simulation, there would be a small sect of people that would just be like, it's like nothing matters, like morality out the window. There'd be a bigger chunk of people, like Justin was saying, like just having full on crises. And I bet like people would literally go insane, like literally go insane, like on the street, like see like people like fucking rolling over, and there would be a lot of wars. There would be a lot of wars.
You think so?
Oh, for sure.
Did you guys ever watch Look Up?
Don't Look
No.
Up.
Is it Don't Look Up? I don't remember
The
the
Netflix
name of
thing
it.
about the meteor.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's
That
movie.
Leo movie.
Yeah, it's got Leo in it. I think that's a pretty accurate summation of like what would happen at the end of the world. I think
But this
people would
wouldn't be
freak
the end of
out.
the world.
Huh?
This wouldn't be the end of the world. This would be like mass divine revelation.
Sort of is. Like, I think it would be the end of the perception of the world for a lot of people. Because they'd be like, oh my god, I'm in a simulation. Nothing's real. And they would just like fuck on a rooftop in an orgy or something because it's over. I don't know.
Do you think the same thing would happen if we found out that we weren't alone in the universe?
No, I think that's a completely different kind of situation.
Wouldn't that?
I think it would fuck with a lot of like really religious people.
Yeah.
But I think they would do the same thing that they did with the Indians, which is try to convert them.
Yeah.
Assuming they were friendly. I don't know.
Yeah. The reason that the aliens and the humans finally connected is so they can accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
So if they made a church on the alien planet, would the Jesus in the alien church be an alien?
It'd be
Would it be
reptile.
alien
It'd be
Jesus?
reptile Jesus. Yeah, reptile Jesus.
No, I think it was.
How do you know that hasn't already happened? What if Jesus was an alien that came from another planet in order to convert us all to Christianity?
You know what? If that actually happened, like if let's say reptile aliens meet us and we come together on the moon and we sign like a peace treaty and we start like traveling back and forth, then the reptile people like learn about Christianity, accept Jesus Christ like on a planetary scale. They would probably just be like, you know what? Jesus was here like 18,000 years ago as like a little baby like monitor lizard. There he is in the records.
And you killed him.
And you killed it. And that they'd mirror the whole story and just like, yeah, Jesus was here too. And then it'd be like an intergalactic Christianity faith type thing.
They're Jesus.
Yeah.
And we are now their enemy.
I mean,
I think that shit would start some holy wars. Like just straight up. Like, what is it called? Sectarian violence. Like
sure.
It'd be the what you call it, Sunnis versus the Shiites.
I mean,
it's all over.
It's one thing to sort of change the story, but it's another thing just like characters as like, something familiar, right? So what I'm trying to say is like, what if they had all their like religious texts and stuff, and then they started like making like depictions of it in their like alien church or something? Like would they just put lizards in for like all the characters? Like, and that's been the pattern.
Is Rick and Morty accurate?
I don't think they would, because like if you go to fucking Brazil or something, it's still white Jesus there.
Yeah, but if you go to Korea, it's Korean Jesus.
No, it's what? No, he's still white in Korea. What the fuck?
Korean Jesus? Have I been lied to about Korean
not
Jesus?
Korean in Korea. No way.
I was actually thinking of that sketch too.
Is 21 Jump Street or something?
Yes.
I thought that was the thing.
But yeah, I mean, point for that he would be a human.
Well,
He is still white everywhere.
I mean, if you go to the basilica, like that national shrine, they do have this thing where there's like the Mother Mary depiction from all these different cultures in the world, and it's like they actually like they are like localized. Like I think that is like how, I don't know.
I'm telling you,
It's
like,
it'll be in,
if
ahead.
another species accepts Christianity, they will somehow say that like, if another extraterrestrial species, they will somehow say that like, figure out some way to like either prove or spin a story or do something and say Jesus also visited our planet. That is why like we can believe in this shit.
We were the original Christians.
so they're,
Hey,
they're
but
gonna
then,
be
then
Mormons.
they'll do the holy war stuff, but they will like they will figure someone to call on their history Jesus.
I think that would take like at least a couple hundred years.
Maybe.
At that point, I
Yeah,
don't
in this hypothetical time frame where we found lizard people that have come and made a treaty with humans.
What if the lizard people? I don't know. Never mind.
No, just say it, dude.
What if they already know about Jesus?
They do, because they were.
Makes sense.
All right, I'm gonna be the one that says I gotta go this time.
Alrighty.
How do we realistically? We need an ending, like a for sure ending.
The for sure ending is saying, and
Not a saying. Has to be like a thing we do at the end.
We could have a segment where we do a poll, and then like a Family Feud style, like guessing of the poll results.
I can't
Some
like
podcast.
Poll with our 8 viewers.
if you can flesh
I mean,
that
like,
out, Nate.
it's not zero.
It's not zero.
Flesh
That means
that
we have more
out.
viewers on Twitch than we do on YouTube. That's actually kind of cool.
Are we
I didn't know we had
multi-broadcasting?
viewers. What?
Are we multi-broadcasting? Oh, you're saying the view count on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think usually like we just like sometimes we say what we've been up to, and that's usually a decent way to end.
I like that. I like what you've been up to this week.
Sure.
Alan, what you been up to this week?
Game wise, I started, or I finished Final Fantasy IV a couple weeks ago. Started Final Fantasy VI, and then took a pause from that and started playing Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door. It's pretty
Are
good.
they remakes or remasters for Final Fantasy 6 and 4?
The Final Fantasy IV was the PSP version. Final Fantasy VI is the remaster. It took me like 2 days to fully mod it, because they're really good mods for it. You can kind of pick and choose, like, oh, I like the text from the Super Nintendo, but the sprites from the PlayStation, but I like the menus from the remaster. So you can kind of like force the game to like pick and choose exactly what you want. It's pretty cool. I'm hoping that they like super mod it because there's a bunch of stuff cut from the remaster. So I hope someone mods it to put it back in. Other than that, I've been working on I mentioned it a couple of times. I'm working on the spice business. We're still about 12 weeks out from production, but things are going pretty smoothly.
Nate, what you
Cool.
been up to?
So on the weekend, I tried to. So I heard there's this new tech that's like a lot more economical in terms of like the hardware that you need for it. So I was trying to set it up. It's called Stable Diffusion. You just need one GPU, like 10 gigabytes memory. So that's like a lot easier to run. And I tried setting it up, and then I found that like it's actually really hard to get the weights. Like it's one of these situations where they said they published the weights, but really it's like they're just taking research proposals, and like I just want to play around with it. And I see all these people playing around with it. It's like how do these people write the research proposal where like they just want to play with it, right? Because that's what I want to do. Like I feel like there's some great injustice happening. It's like you just get to play
Why don't
around
you
with
wait
it.
your own research proposal where you start
I
playing
did.
around with it?
I literally did, but I just don't know how they wrote theirs.
Well,
Anyway,
maybe a good topic for a future episode or next week's if you want to, Nate. The idea of art, ownership, AI, and all that sort of stuff.
yeah, it's pretty crazy what's out there.
Super interesting right now. I've been looking at a lot of that stuff. From where AI art was like even a year and a half ago to where it is today is fucking astronomical. Like the
Bonkers.
leap was so big.
Bonkers.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. What you been up to, Justin?
So I did SmashCon over the weekend. Really good show. Made a lot of money. Just
SmashCon?
generally cool to be Super SmashCon. It's the convention in somewhere in Virginia for Super Smash
Chantilly or
Brothers.
something?
What?
Chantilly?
Yeah, Chantilly. That's it. Yeah, it's a super cool show. It was really big this year with like a lot of attendees.
Did you play it all, or did you just vend?
No, I just vended. I didn't have time to play.
Did you want to play?
Not really. I'm not like in practice. So like I was fine not playing. And Ultimate's in like a really weird place where all the characters kind of suck. Anyway, I did that. Otherwise, this week's the last week for the season 17 of Destiny 2. I need to finish a bunch of shit there, and then play fucking Fortnite because Dragon Ball Z. Because I don't know, I'm stupid. I don't know. I don't. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for me. How about you, Chris?
Been working a lot. I got a game coming out early next year,
Yay.
so that's going to be exciting. But it's it's a lot of work. A lot of work right now. Other than that, I started playing a game called Eastward. It's like this little pixel graphic, kind of Link to the Past style, as like far as combat and movement, but it's more has like a lot of Stranger Things vibes. It came out a little while ago on Switch, I think last year on Switch and just recently came out on Steam. So,
Are
or
you
vice
playing
versa.
Are you playing on the deck or on the Switch?
So I'm playing it on the Steam Deck. Yeah, it's the first game that I'm playing natively on the Steam Deck.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's fun.
The only game that I bought specifically for the Steam Deck that's like new and modern and stuff is not compatible with the Steam Deck. So I just got sad. But I'm hoping they update it soon.
7 remake
Yeah.
works with it.
What's
pretty
that?
Good. 7 remake works with it pretty good.
I played that on PlayStation.
Ah, shit. Okay.
Played it on PlayStation. All right, gentlemen.
Nice.
Any closing thoughts? If not, Christopher, sing us out.
If we live in a simulation, it doesn't matter. Be nice to people. Be nice to people.
All right, guys. Tune in next week. Take it easy, everyone.